with this ring, I take you, Folasade, Dorcas, I do to be my lovely wedded wife, forsaking all others.
Wow.
to cling to you.
Alrighty. Welcome to MEETTHEADUS. This is another episode. My name is Folasade.
And my name is Ayeni. Yeah.
So today we'll be talking about dealing with the opposite sex.
Why did you have to pause like that before you said? Is it like a heavy topic?
It's not heavy.
Dealing with the opposite sex. You know that line, forsaking all others to cling to you alone, is where most marriages, all marriages usually start from. But do we really follow that line?
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. So the truth is, dealing with the opposite sex in marriage actually exists. It happens, and it doesn't just happen while you're not married. It happens even while you're single. And because I'm a pretty thing, yeah, I'm so pretty. I had to say that.
You're so pretty, I had to marry you.
Whatever. But the truth is, even as married couples, you won't be amazed even while you're pregnant. You still get people as a woman, People just pregnant women.
Oh really?
Yeah, for real.
I'm fully everywhere.
So the truth is that some persons would just want to be a naughty fellow and just want to try their luck, somewhat, somehow. But the truth is, we just have to. As I'm talking from the female perspective now, there are times where people would tell me right to my face and say that that you're married, but this ring that you're wearing, and my mind, I'm like, it just wants stop. It just wants maybe it just wants it just wants that I almost had an altercation with somebody who because it was just to say, to the person it was a joke, but to me it was quite expensive, talking about some flimsy talk about tripping and all of those funny. I can't even remember the exact phrase the person said that, but I had to take it out. I'm like, no, you don't talk to a married lady like that. You don't treat people like that. Oh, stop.
You see why I married you?
Sit down.
Forsaking all others.
But the truth is, as women, I think that we need to learn how to be firm, because these naughty guys, I'm going to tag them naughty, may not want to respect the ring on your finger if you wear one.
But what happens? Sorry, babe. But what happens when you and I probably maybe having this misunderstanding, and then some guy is now trying to give you attention? How do you deal with that?
Because the truth is, I don't even think it's healthy for you to have that kind of misunderstanding, that you'll be so vulnerable to the point where any Tom, Dick and Harry won't have their way with you personally. To be very honest with you, the highest I can do is just stay on my own and read. When it comes to reading and researching about stuff, I'm very good at it. So the highest I would do is, okay, how do you do it? But now, what do you do when your partner is this, that, and then pray. As a Christian, just pray. And then fortunately for us, like we said in the previous episode, we've not really had major conflicts. That even when we've had biggest challenges, we're able to deal with it and not breaking anybody's neck at the end of the day. So back to what we're saying, I believe that as female, like I said earlier, we need to learn how to draw the line and stay firm. We can have friends that are opposite sex, but everybody knows where to draw the line. Do you understand? Everybody knows where to draw the line, and we leave it like that. We leave it at that.
Do you ever see any person, a guy that maybe tickles your fancy and you're like, ooh?
Well, the truth happens. You always see persons who look better than your spouse, who look more handsome, who dresses better.
Than this?
So that I'm going to get out of this video.
Okay.
You know, so,
I'm sorry, I'll behave.
But the truth is, you chose the person that you married. You know, for all you care, the grass may be greener, may appear greener on the other side, but you can also, you know, take care of your own garden as well.
Yeah.
And some other person will also be looking at your garden. I'm like, wow. So you don't even know what you have. You don't even appreciate what you have. Or could it be that you're even familiar with what you have? Because, like I said, you'd be amazed that some person is looking at your spouse. I'm like, wow, person who married this person would be so lucky. That's the truth. That's the truth. So, to be very honest, I mean, times I joke with my husband, wow, crushing on this guy.
There's one particular man that she told me about, and I know the man's name, but I will not mention it. If I am to mention that name,
I'll leave this video for you.
Lord.
And then you just have to.
I said I'll behave.
And sometimes I tell my husband, I want you to dress this way, I want you to look this way, I want you to. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about ensuring that we always look better than the way how our spouse met us. You know,
let me talk from a man's point of view.
Alright then.
Okay, so all my brothers out there, big shout out to you.
Yo.
Well, for a man, many times in most scenarios, men are the ones who are pursuing after the ladies. Although now the table has been reversed and some ladies are now pursuing after men they want. And it puts men in a very sensitive position because you are both a target and a predator at the same time, and so you have options, literally surrounded with options. And because the wiring of man's physiology kind of makes us tilt a little more to visual impulse, visual stimuluses, you know, it's easier to, shall I say, stimulate the visual than probably emotions and all of that. And so if you're a man and you have a lot of opposite sex around you, even though sometimes in your heart of heart you feel
danger zone,
you feel like, oh well, there's nothing going on, but because your eye is constantly being bombarded and your cortex, your brain is constantly being loaded with all of these images, if you are not careful, you will start to allow them to begin to get into from DM to go to what?
I don't know. But I just want to point out something. Sorry. The truth is, I always tell my husband, because my husband is the one who is at the forefront in the media, whatever, and I always tell him that sometimes, you know, when you're chatting with all of these babes, for all you care, you may have good intentions,
but the girls don't have good intentions.
You don't even know what's happening at the other
they
side
ain't
of the
loyal,
table,
y'all.
you know,
they
so
ain't loyal.
You just have to.
So the major thing, particularly for it, is accountability. One of the things that helped us in our marriage was I started telling my wife about other ladies that I was seeing outside. I remember in particular incidents. She traveled out of town, and I was just all by myself, and there was this other lady who was willing to help a brother out when a wife wasn't around. I was like, God help me. Man, I thank God that I told my wife about it and we're able to work through the circumstance together and many other scenarios like that.
And you know, my husband has told me about it and I'll be able to work together as a team.
So now that if she travels, she knows that she has to keep 3 eyes to help me so that the ministry can go to the other side. So pretty much, I feel where a lot of men make mistakes, now I'm not condemning you, but I just think it's a learning curve, is that most men are skeptical about telling their wives about what goes on between them and the opposite sex. The moment there is secrecy, you are already brewing an opportunity for something that you will not be able to control to happen. And if you mean well, you cannot afford secrets. You cannot even afford that kind of secrets.
They're dangerous.
Girl, you're so dangerous. Okay, so for women, on the other hand, you have to also be comfortable enough to receive when your husband tells you that he saw a lady that he was vulnerable to. Doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Doesn't mean that you've gained weight. Doesn't mean that you're out of shape. It just means that your man is human and you also have to rally around and support him in that particular instance to be able to deal with it. So after I went through many of these cycles, and all these people were just disturbing me, you know, because I'm so handsome, disturbing me. You know what we did? My wife and I, we came up with a strategy, and then she took charge of my communication with people of the opposite sex. In fact, if you're a lady now, you can't get access to me without getting access to her. So it became that serious. She had to say, okay, these are the things we're going to do to manage this, because it was just getting out of hand. And so if you are going to make it through dealing with the opposite sex, forsaking all of this to be with your spouse, you have to get your spouse involved. Otherwise, you're going to be a one-man army, and they never win.
Okay, something popped in my head while you were talking, and I wanted to say that, you know, for both parties, they need to ensure that you pre-approve your home and your marriage. That's, I mean, you can't be with your spouse everywhere. You don't even know what they are thinking, you don't know what their challenges are, but you need to ensure that you cover them with prayers. I mean, so that karashikas will not find them. And even if she can't find them, perhaps
they will catch you.
They will always find a way to come back home. Yeah. Do you understand?
Prayer is very important, guys.
And then for people who are not married, and then even if you're married but you're trying to check a married fellow, or trying to seduce a married fellow, or trying to flirt with a married fellow, but the truth is, I believe in sowing and reaping. You know, I'm not even trying to sound very harsh now, but put yourself in the other person's shoes. How would you feel if somebody else does that to you? How would you feel if somebody else does that to your partner? You know, so just your own will come. Your own will come. Your own will come. Provided you don't scatter another. Exactly. Your own will come. You know, just keep praying about it. And even if you've erred in the past, you know, you can always ask God for forgiveness. Yeah. You know, I mean, God is a merciful Father. He would always bring you back and welcome you back into His loving arms. Aww. But then again, you just have to ensure that, you know, you guard your steps. You know, I remember when I was single, and you know, before I started going, I mean, once a married person comes to my radar, I'm like, military's on keep up, because I mean, I don't want to be, you know, someone who wants to destroy another woman's home, basically. So once I hear you're married, I flee, because I mean, that's the truth. And that's the way to go. Boundaries is the first place to start if you're going to deal with the opposite sex. If you don't have the right boundaries around you, you will be everybody's land. Imagine if Nigeria, our home country where we are, does not have boundaries, or the country you are living or watching us does not have boundaries. It is free for all. Anybody can enter, anybody can do anything, anybody can become the president. So you need to have boundaries. Define your relationships. Number 2, accountability. You cannot have a relationship with a person of the opposite sex that your partner is not aware about. You have to make sure that your partner knows. Because the moment there's secrecy, there is the recipe for disaster. So you want to make sure your partner is aware. You know, there's something that... Okay, finish. Yeah, okay. Should I say number 3? Okay, no, you talk, then I'll say number 3. Okay, I wanted to say that you shouldn't have any other bestie. Any other bestie other than your spouse. Let your spouse be your bestie. So all those your friends that you call bestie. You know that they are the bestie of all besties. So who am I? They're the bestie of all besties. I'm the chief bestie. Yes. Oh, the chief bestie. And last but not least, number 3, you have to let your partner, and you guys have to hear this, let your partner determine the quality of the relationship you're gonna have. The moment they start to raise red flags, even if you feel there's nothing happening, even if you feel there's nothing wrong, you have to respect your partner's wishes. Okay? I'm telling you this both from experience, from knowledge, from reading, from everything. Once your partner says, that person, the way I'm looking at him or her, please, that is a very, very big sign. Because the truth is, the eye does not see itself like another. And whenever you are in a position where you are interacting with someone of the opposite sex,
your partner will be able to see things that you cannot see. And like she said, you may mean well, you're plain, you're cool, no strings attached, but the other person may have an objective, an agenda, and perhaps it could be karashika. So, hey, you don't want to put yourself in trouble. So, those are the 3 thoughts I think will really help you to deal well with opposite sex.
Oh, and then I think it's important for couples to always stay attractive to each other. Yeah.
Is that why you look like this?
Stop.
Wow. Let me just take a moment to just toast you again. Hi. My name is Ayeni. Will you marry me?
No. Alright then, really? You guys, thanks for watching our video. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll be looking forward to you watching our other episodes. But most importantly, we'd like to know how you've been able to, even if you're not married yet, but in a relationship, how have you been able to guard yourselves from pressure from the opposite sex? We'd like to know about it. Don't forget to drop the comments. You know. Okay.
So will you marry me? I will take care of you. Okay. I will treat you well.
I'll marry you.
You'll marry me, or you may kiss the bride.
Bye.